From the beginning, man. Tell me about yourself. Where were you born and raised?
Okay, my name is Epic Raynan Baker. I was born in Rochester, New York in 1980, July. So I'm 43 right now to 44.
Yeah, and you can look at me too. Don't
Look
worry
at
about
you.
the camera.
Most of my life I stayed in Rochester, New York, and with the New York State Rangers and everything. In my early 20s, I had gone to Columbus, Ohio for 4 days. That's the only time I've ever been out of state. After a while, like I always figured, like if you gotta go through sufferings and hard times and experiences, why not change the environment and continue to have to, if you have to, or it comes down to it, go down the same experience, but just do it in a different environment. I did a lot of praying to see what exactly where I should go, and believe the Lord God had me come out to Washington, Seattle. So I have been out here for about 20 months, and it's been an experience.
Right on. Well, tell me, in New York, did you grow up with your mom and dad, siblings?
To be dead honest, I was put in foster care when I was like 6, 7 months old.
Okay.
Eventually, after a few foster homes, I was adopted by 2 Caucasians. They funneled the channel a bunch of foster kids out and actually ended up adopting 7 of us, 6 boys, 1 girl. I'm like the 3rd child.
6 boys, 1 girl, so 7 of you guys.
Yes,
in the household.
All different, well, multiracial and everything like that. Not blood related to either one of the parents.
Gotcha. And so when you guys were growing up,
Yeah.
tell me about the environment.
Interesting. It'd be like the regular sibling stuff and everything.
Sure.
But head buttings and stuff like that. But there was a deep, familial family stuff going on, with their own children that caused a chasm. And then there was a big, let's say, altercation, and then it was a great divide.
So this couple already had kids?
Yes, they had 4 older children.
Oh, I
so
see.
me being 43 right now, they are in their late 50s, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe touching 60.
And so you guys all grew up together?
Yes.
So go on with that chasm.
Okay, and something had happened, I won't get into it, but then there was a great split in the divide, and it got left with the being the 4 older of the biological being estranged, and then the 7 of us had, all just being with the 2 parents.
Wow.
And it's just my experiences. I did a lot of headbutting with them and stuff. Maybe on my part on some things, a lot of other things it wasn't. Didn't really think that we got along, but I stayed around long enough so I could graduate high school. Graduated high school, took off for like a year. Then went to college after a year, and then just seeing that the living environment wasn't for me, I needed to separate. So I removed myself from them for like a good few years and was out on my own pretty much for the most part since I was 19.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And you still talk to all your siblings?
I haven't talked to any one of my 5 foster brothers, or adopted brothers, and 1 adopted sister since like 2017 when our foster mom had passed away and they had a funeral. 2013, that's when my foster adopted dad had passed away too.
Oh, so they're both gone.
Yeah, so it's just pretty much just me. However they live their life, I don't really hold no spite or I'm compassionate and I hold mercy, but I just do it from a distance, and all power to them, and I always had to live my own life. I always kind of felt like I was like black sheepish, but I guess for the most part, I just with the whole group of them, we just all don't get along, especially them with me. So I just left them alone, and I'm just out here really trying to just survive in this world and keep my head above the water of it.
Yeah. So tell me, you're saying that you felt like you were led or called, or just like you said, you prayed.
Yes.
To come to Washington.
Yes, sir.
And when was that? You said about 20 months ago?
I've been here in the state of Washington, Seattle area, Ballard, for 20 months. Let's see, I actually took a 3-day bus trip on a Greyhound across the entire country. It was a good experience. I did it for the scenic thing about it. I left Rochester, New York, March 25th, 2022, and I got here the 28th, about like 6, 7 o'clock. So I've been here since the end of March 2022, and then I've kind of was in a Motel 6 for like 3 days, paid for it, and then I just needed to save money. Did not know nothing about Washington, let alone Seattle. And
so you just like landed.
A leap of faith. I prayed to God where I needed to go to, and after a while, the Lord God said, "This is where you need to be," and I just took it on a leap of faith and allowed myself to be guided here.
Nice. That sounds like an adventure.
Yeah, it was.
It
truly.
sounds exciting. It sounds
Yeah.
really scary too.
It was. I mean, for the most part, it was a culture shock, you know what I'm saying, as far as, like I said, because my interactions I was cutting across the country was just basically bus shift changeovers at the Greyhound depots. So it wasn't really staying maybe 4 or 5 hours here, 2 hours here, and just dotting around, boom, boom, boom. But a lot of it was just landscape seeing and everything like that. I needed the experience. I always felt like I was supposed to be a traveler, you know, move around and interact with other human beings in different cultures and environments. So I just wanted to take it in.
Yeah. And you didn't know any, so
Not a soul.
so you
Not at
stayed
all.
in this hotel
Yes.
in what part of town?
I really didn't know where the closest one was. They dropped me off at the Greyhound station, whatever, 4th and downtown and everything
Oh,
like
so
that.
it was like Seattle proper. Like,
Yeah.
Got it.
So I didn't really know where to go. I was just looking on my phone for the cheap motels and stuff like that. After a while, I came up with the Motel 6. It seemed like a good price. You know what I'm saying? I had saved up a nice little penny to be able to hold me down for a little bit before I can get employment. So I just decided the Motel 6. I called a cabbie. I didn't know what to do. And then they ended up taking me the long ride all the way out to, I think it was like 187th and Military, way past out the airport. Why he took me out that way, I don't know. But it ended up being good. It was a nice little stay. And then, like I said, just to save money. I had enough, like I said, to get me by for a while before employment. And then, so I looked into the Seattle, homeless shelter housing resources and everything like that. Came across a place called SHARE, Seattle Housing and Resource Empowerment or Enforcement, and they ended up denying me. I got, because it's actually client run. The first one denied me of going into that shelter, so I ended up spending another day out in the motel. And then I just felt like that night I had a dream, and it just felt like I would needed to go back. So I ended up going back to the thing, and then ended up talking to a person who's taking intakes for a church that's over there by the Valor Goodwill. I think it's 65th and maybe 8th Avenue or something like that, a little bit by there. And it was a church, you know what I'm saying, in the basement. You know, they had mats and cots, and for like 3 months I was out there.
Okay, gotcha.
You know?
Yeah. So, and was that the first time you'd, I don't know, experienced being unhoused?
Being homeless?
Yeah.
No, back in Rochester I've been homeless before.
Okay.
Out of incarceration stints or something, or just out of just like no fault of my own, just really didn't have the contacts or resources for people that I could stay in. So I would just rough it at times, and then other times you just can't stay outside. So I always had a good strategy. I always felt like I had a good plan. If I would put myself into a shelter, that, you know, get out quick as possible, stab myself with more employment if I wasn't. So I've had some stints of homelessness, being in shelters. I wasn't expecting to be this long when it came to living out in Seattle, but, you know, God has pulled me through.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm only here right now, sir, because of the Lord our God.
Yeah.
I mean, I cannot deliver my own self in this world.
Okay. I'm curious too, when you grew up in that foster family, was it religious foster family?
Not necessarily. We my adopted parents, foster parents, they took us to church for a little while when I was at a younger age. I think up maybe until 10, and then after that they just kind of dipped us out of there for some reason. I mean, I was too young to know and understand at the time why it is, but I guess it was an issue and a problem with the Reverend. In some shape, fashion, or form, I don't know, because my foster mom wasn't a very religious person. In the end, before she passed away, I remember having conversations with her, and I believe she had told me that she don't really believe in God. So, and my foster dad, he was just kind of nonchalant, you know, saying just in between, stoic sort of thing. So I won't necessarily push religion. I guess it was just because it was the right thing to do, being in the neighborhood, and, you know, saying, just trying to follow the flow of how the neighborhood was. That's how I took it.
Yeah, but something stuck with you.
Yes, I'm a great believer in the Almighty our God.
How did that happen? I mean, what's that story?
Number one, the toughness of my life. I've seen a lot of sufferings, personal sufferings where a lot of times I've had to deal and endure by my own self, you know what I'm saying? Or I just knew I had enough strength, or felt that I had enough strength. But most of the time, or even, I would say all the time, it wasn't me delivering. Maybe when in the beginning phases, I didn't really understand it to its depth. but I started looking into more of, trying to get in a connection with God, saying known of the heavenly angels, God's creation, and the Almighty, because I claim I'm what the world refers to as a Christian, but I tried to take the spirit realm, and I believe that God is the only God of all human beings, since the beginning, now, or ever will be. I've had a lot of spiritual experiences, visions, I guess you would say, sleep or awake, and I believe in the scriptures of the Bible, even those passages or those books that were taken out. I guess they were called in the Apocrypha. So I have a strong belief in them, and I just know that I cannot have survived or delivered my own self in this world on my own. I believe that there's too much to this world on a human and a spirit level for me, my own self, to be able to deliver my own self in it, especially for a person who wants to get as close to God as possible. Like I said, I am what the world refers to as a Christian, who everyone referred to as Jesus, said you must worship God in spirit and in truth. Spirit being the thing that gives power to all things in life, especially the physical human body, and truth is that string that ties through all human beings, where it's meant for all humans. It's not just meant for some or just a few.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah.
So, let's see, you were in that church on 65th and 8th in the basement.
Yeah, down there a little bit.
And then, are you still there?
No.
You were there for 3 months.
I was there for about 3 months.
And then what happened?
I left out something that's like, I got 2 jobs in Seattle
Nice.
within the first 2 weeks that I was here. I worked at Elysian Capitol Hill, and I got a job at the Ballard Goodwill because I was at the shelter. Elysian, the Capitol Hill restaurant, I was there for like 10 days. Didn't think the environment was for me, so I just went full on. At Ballard, my experience in the shelter was kind of up and down. I mean, within my first 3 weeks of being in Seattle and being in there, came home from work one night and being there 20 minutes, there was a double shooting. With the Seattle housing program, the SHARE program, the 30-year history, what I found out is that there was never an on-site shooting ever in the 30-year history. But here I am, situation. I stayed around and, still survived through it all. I wasn't under the threat of being shot, but, I kind of experienced it, seeing what was going on. I won't get into details, but, things happen in this world, unfortunately, and just continue to work at the Ballard Goodwill until that kind of dried out for me, and had a mishap at the shelter. I guess they were saying I wasn't holding my responsibility as being part of the leadership, but I was just volunteering my time. I come home from.
Real quick, Epic, tell me about, I've never experienced a shelter.
Yes.
What is that experience like? When you
in my
walk in the
past?
door, I don't know. I just, from just a point of view of I have my imagination, which is you walk into a place and there's a bunch of beds with people. I don't know.
I have in my hometown, in my county, Rochester, New York, Monroe County, I've been at different shelters. Some were set up were certain sections were just single bed cubicles.
Okay.
Other sections were double bunk and everything like that. And if it was an overflow, they would have people with mats or something.
And so you go in, you double bunk with somebody you just
double
never
bunk,
met?
or you would get a single cube. It
Okay.
depends how you fell under the list and everything like
Gotcha.
that. In my county, a lot of it was tied to you're being placed in the shelter through the social services program, and then you deal with that on whatever 2 levels you can, the work program, or you can do the outpatient drug and alcohol. I did different sections and stuff like that. Always was successful in it. It was a temporary situation.
Right.
It was only supposed to be for not just so I could just live off the land and live off the system and everything like that. It was just to give me a leg up.
Yeah.
Because I've caught a lot of short changes in my lifetime. So I was just looking for places to give myself a leg up. Comes out to be out in Seattle. I thought it was a good place, and like I said, I got a job that was relatively close by to me. Given that little shooting mishap and everything like that, I thought I did fairly well because my aim was just to go to work. I worked 8-9 hours, and then I just come back, volunteer my own time. Make sure people got bus tickets and everything like that, and then go to sleep and wake up the next day. So I tried to stay out of it. It's just regular stuff outside of any would be in any environment. A lot of mine was a multi-gender one, so they I don't know, people come from all different walks of life, especially when it comes to Seattle, and it's coming to homeless and the shelters. you get people from all over the country, let alone, or all over the state of Washington, all over the country, like my own self, that, you know, they go through situations and they end up in a undomiciled or homeless state, like my own self has been, given my situation. And it's just, you know, you deal with it as you can, and then personalities deal with it as they can, and then it's the interaction of the people among each other while you're trying to get yourself out the situation, and then whatever rules, regulations, stipulations that come along with it, individually and as a collective, you try to, you know, saying abide by them, follow them, and, you know, saying, I guess in those situations, I would believe that people, male or female, would want to uplift each other, you know, saying, or be around somebody that's positive, because being homeless is a tough thing, especially if you're by yourself, and, you know, it's depressing. It could be mentally taxing, whether you want to be in it or whether you're capable to handle and endure it. Fortunately, I was. But it's just like us as human beings, rumors, gossip, headbuttings, you know, saying jealousies, envy, spite. So
Yeah.
I've seen all that, I met all that. I never tried to give it out, but eventually I had to like part my ways from that shelter.
Yeah.
And I stepped away from it, but I still had my job at that time.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So now, currently, your current situation is,
Yes.
do you have a tent? Do you have
Let's see.
where are you at?
I'm on multi things. I'll have to say this, and whether or not people do believe me, given the current situations that were coming up and challenging me, unwarranted, undeserved, and everything like that, I felt my best way to like obstacle course maneuver among and around it was to purposely continue to make myself homeless. So at the state that you're talking to me right now, I am purposely homeless.
Wait, so
it's not even.
But I understand what you're saying. Like, you can, if you wanted to.
If I wanted to go out, get in my apartment, tap into the resources, go into another shelter, which I probably would never do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I just felt like it constructed around what my path in this world was supposed to be. Sometimes you just got to take a step back so you can take some forward. I call it a sacrifice to gain, because I believe, you know, that's how God spoke to me about it. And just have belief and faith, and you'll be delivered through it. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, is willing to sacrifice some things for a greater picture so you can gain in the future. And so after prayer and all that, and just decided, it just kind of continued to snowball like this. I never think about it to be this long, but like I said, I do my best to try to make God my guiding force. I've had some pitfalls and slip-ups. I've had substance abuse. I've, you know, saying, kind of let myself go. I let myself at times in my life go wayward, you know, saying like that. I hold responsibility for all of that. But what I'm doing right now is for a purpose. Whether some people agree with it, don't agree with it, understand it, don't. But I believe that how I'm going right now is how I am. So as far as being homeless right now and being in a purposely, sometimes I sleep in when the weather is all right. I have a mat, blankets and pillows and stuff like that. Other times I've slept in tents here and there. I don't really like to deal with the group setting of sleeping and stuff like that. Really, I try to be hidden when it comes to my own self sleeping.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because it's just, being outside is just sleep. It's, for me, it's just to sleep. And I get up and I'll hopefully see another day.
Yeah. Efik, is there anything you want to say to the people of Seattle?
It's been a very interesting experience. I believe not even just Seattle people, residents. I believe that all human beings were supposed to be of equal requirement to live decently among each other. And decency, I believe, starts from within inside of a human being. You know what I'm saying? We can give our superficial on the outside and everything like that, but the scriptures say that God looks within and into the mind and the heart. I've seen a lot of head clashings when it comes to my own self and people throughout Seattle, whether they were residents formerly born and raised here, whether they came from another state, maybe even another country. I just seem to catch a tough draw when it comes to masses of other human beings, but I don't have any ill will or no spite. I try to live myself with decency. I want to get along with any human beings I'm around, let alone just people who are from Seattle or wherever they are from. I just wish other human beings would just like meet me with the same decency that God requires us to have. And that starts from within us, so we can all get along, regardless of skin color, ethnicity, religion, or sex. God created all human beings to interact with each other in decency.
Yeah, right. Man, thanks for sharing part of your story, man.
I appreciate you,
That's
man.
good. That's good to hear your voice.
Sweet, John.
Yeah,
Thank you
man.
very much for
Take
hearing
care
my
of
story.
yourself.
Take care of yourself.
I'm gonna grab that little mic, take a couple